Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is BHAMBRA here for PSB Sports, and I'm very happy to be joined on the line now by Joseph Parker's promoter. We have David Higgins. David, thank you for your time. I know you're out there in New Zealand. How's things?
Good, great. Thank you for your time as well.
Thanks a lot, David. Right, David, let's get straight into it. Obviously, Duco, you guys had that press conference yesterday with yourself, Joseph, Kevin, Barry, and the team. Firstly, David, in terms of the press conference itself, I know you showed the video of Anthony Joshua getting dropped. What were you guys as a team hoping to achieve by showing those videos in that press conference yesterday?
Okay, so as Eddie Hearn well knows, the first job of a boxing promoter is to put the event on the map globally, get people talking about the event, create rivalry, and British fans need to be demanding the fight. Now, Eddie's not doing it, so we had to do it. So we thought that to go to the taboo subject of all the times Josh was being dropped would create that discussion, and the English media sort of give him a free ride on it. It's not really overly discussed. I know Hearn and Sky Sport Joshua are quite powerful in England, but really it is whether he has a glass jaw is an issue. He has been dropped numerous times, and we're hearing more rumours coming out now. And we knew that discussing that would blow the event up globally, and that's exactly what's happened. And so, as press conferences go, I'd say it's the most effective press conference our business has ever run. And now you've seen Eddie Hearn coming out, sort of making an offer, saying, on a video that Parker's worth more than 25%. And the irony of that is that Hearn said he doesn't want to negotiate through the media, and that's the first time through the media that he's actually put a percentage on it. And I think that's a further sign that that press conference was very effective. The other thing you'll notice is Eddie grinning in the video. He looks very happy. He's grinning like a Cheshire cat. And that's because he knows that the publicity that we're generating is going to make him money and Anthony Joshua money.
David, as well, I know obviously you made reference there to the interview with Eddie Hearn, which he did. David, I want to ask you in particular about what you made about what Eddie Hearn said about, Joseph Parker's commercial value. And not only that as well, I know he said there about the offer you've just mentioned about 65-35, and you, as Team Parker, will be able to keep your own TV territory money, so the New Zealand money, but on the other hand, Anthony Joshua would keep UK pay-per-view money. What do you make of that in particular and Parker's commercial value?
Okay, so we won't be entertaining that deal at all. It's irrelevant. They need Parker to unify. They've said they want to unify. They can't do it without Parker. It hasn't been done in nearly 10 years or whatever. Lennox Lewis was the last undisputed champion. And they've said they want to unify, and they need Parker. So we are looking for a fair payday for unification. Parker started training in boxing at the age of 3 or 4. That's 20-something years of his life to work towards becoming an unbeaten world champion. So what people should ask is, what is a fair payday? What's a fair ratio? And we'll do a profit share deal only, open book. And we believe 35% is more than reasonable. And Bob Arum, who I spoke to this morning, who's been alive, twice as long as, Eddie, would totally agree and said 35% is more than reasonable. And so anything less is a bit of a slap in the face in terms of the hard work Joseph's put in to become an unbeaten champion. The other thing is Eddie sort of said he wanted to negotiate privately. I'd ask the question why. In the United States, the Muhammad Ali Act requires sort of the publication of purses, etc. We're quite happy to negotiate openly. I mean, the worst thing we could do is quietly say, thank you, Mr. Edward Hearn. Thank you very much. Accept the first little offer he puts on the table behind the scenes, and no one will be talking about the fight. So we've kind of done Joshua and Hearn a favour too by blowing up the interest in the fight. And I can only imagine Anthony Joshua pleading with Eddie, please, Eddie, make the fight. They're starting to talk about my jaw.
And so, David, just to confirm, on Team Parker side, you guys would only accept an open book, split on each side as an offer. You wouldn't accept, you keep the TV revenue from New Zealand, they keep the TV money from the UK. You guys want an open book, split on each side. You guys walk away with your profits, we'll walk away with our profits. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And the reason is simple. we don't know what the revenues are. No one can predict it. And so how do you, and we're contributing to the promotion by making our belt available, which enables unification. We're doing media like yesterday, which has put the fight on the map. I could argue we've done triple as much as Eddie Hearn to get people talking about it. And, we've got a lot of intellectual property too. Our company's got expertise in getting host city government investment for major events. And in fact, we've secured multi-million dollars for boxing events in the recent past. And Eddie should be doing that sort of thing, getting a competitive process going. Cities or locations should be investing in return for the visitation and profile. So we'd cooperate with Eddie to try and make the pie as big as possible. And then we want to divide the pie on what we regard as a fair ratio. And I think any right-thinking boxing fan in the world would say that 35% is not being greedy for a genuine, unbeaten world champion.
So in terms of the current status, as you'd say, is it deadlock, or are negotiations still open? What is the current status of negotiations between Parker and Joshua right now?
The current status is that the fight will happen when they're fair to Joseph Parker and agree to 35%.
Okay, and
look, we're talking to guys like Lucas Brown. They might go and try signing Lucas Brown for something else. Good luck to them. We're not going to be bullied. If they take Lucas Brown out of play, that doesn't mean we're going to accept a low ball offer from them. We've got several other offers floating around too. One of the offers is slightly more than what Eddie originally offered us for unification.
Yeah, and obviously that was one thing I was going to ask you. If this massive unification doesn't happen with Parker and Joshua, what are your other options? When are you hoping to get Joseph out? Are you hoping to get a fight before the end of the year, early next year? And if so, what kind of opponent?
No, we've got quite a few options for the first and second quarter, but I'm not going to detail them. The business is tactical, and Eddie, might mess with us and try and take out other options or whatever. So what I would say, if he does that, then it's going to get harder to make a deal.
Okay, fair enough. And obviously, you're going to back your man, Joseph Parker, if the fight does happen. So in your mind, David, what sort of things do you believe that your fighter has Joseph Parker that will allow him to beat Joshua from your side?
Well, look, we offered 20,000 British pounds to anyone who could prove Joseph's ever been dropped for a reason. He's never been dropped. And, we showed that footage for a reason, that Joshua's getting dropped quite regularly, it seems. And Joshua's a come-forward guy. Guys like Hughie Fury, Andy Ruiz can make you look bad, and make anyone look bad, right? And Joseph looks better against guys who come forward. That's Joshua. But if he's standing and trading, one thing we know, Joshua's jaw is questionable and Joseph's is granite. So if they're trading, I'd back Joseph to knock Joshua out.
Right, and obviously, in all fairness, I know Joseph's obviously quite over the past 2 years really he's been extremely active. As has Joshua. Two real strong, young, hungry heavyweights. And from your opinion, David, if this fight was to happen, do you believe it could be one of the biggest unifications in heavyweight history?
I think that it could be one of the biggest unifications in heavyweight history, but not to say that Parker and Joshua are up there with Ali or, Tyson, Holyfield, etc. yet. The reason is that the heavyweight division has been dire for so long with the Klitschko's and all that it's suddenly getting exciting again and public interest is going through the roof. So the timing is perfect for Joshua and Parker, and certainly the media and fans are getting very interested, and for that reason a heavyweight unification has special value at the present time and will capture global public imagination, and I think unification brings massive credibility, and Joshua and Hearn need to respect our contribution to that, and 35% is not greedy and we won't be moving off it.
And I know, obviously, that the heavyweight landscape in the UK right now is huge. I know David Hayes just pulled out of his rematch with Bellew. I know when you guys were here for the Hughie Fury fight, you said that you guys want to sort of set up base here in London, during this fight and off this fight if possible. So, are there any other UK fighters on your radar? Bellew, White, Hughie, Tyson? Is that anyone on your radar in that sense?
Oh, look, we fight anyone on the right deal, the right risk-return ratio. So all options are on the table, really. We genuinely want to unify, and so that's why we're entertaining this discussion with Joshua. And but everyone wants to, most boxers, or not, if not all, want to become world champion, and so everyone wants to fight Joseph Parker. And Fury made him look worse than he is, and so a lot of people like value think they could probably beat him, and that sort of works in our favour. So we do have many options.
Fair enough, fair enough. And if you were to give Eddie Hearn a message now, what would it be? What would you tell Eddie Hearn now in order to sort of get the fight moving and bring negotiations to a close as such, so the fight is done?
This can take forever, or we can do it quickly. It's up to you, Eddie. A mandatory pays around 30%. This is worth more than that. 35 is fair. Let's make a deal.
Fair enough, fair enough. Any other updates, David, in terms of Duca events? I know you obviously promote Jeff Hearn as well. Any other updates you can tell us?
No, that's all for now.
Thank you very much, David. We appreciate your time today for PSB Sports. We hope the weather's a lot better out there in New Zealand than it is here in the UK.
It's not bad here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, David, and hopefully we can catch up with you soon.